Hello and welcome to part 19 of my Hogwarts MOC series. Today, as promised, we're going to be taking a look at my version of the Hogwarts Central Tower. Now, this tower is actually in real life part of Durham Cathedral, although heavily modified for the miniature in the film and modified over the series of films. My version, as with the rest of my castle, takes inspiration from the version of Hogwarts in The Half-Blood Prince, which is accurate to the miniature model currently at the Warner Brothers Studios tour. So let's get this into view, and it's a little bit tall, unfortunately, or perhaps fortunately. So let me set the camera back a little bit and get you a better view before we go in for the details. There we go. I've had to go quite a long way back and it's still not all in shot, so I will just quickly pan up so you can see the full extent. There we go, all the way to the top of the spire, and then tilt all the way down so you can see the base again. So the central tower is one of the taller towers of Hogwarts. I'm not quite sure how tall it is actually meant to be in relation to others. It's not as tall as the astronomy or the grand staircase tower. It's not actually one mentioned in the books, not specifically anyway. So there's a little bit of leeway with it, and I will be talking about my design process as we look at things more closely. So we'll go back in and start with the ground floor and work our way up, shall we? So here we are down on the ground floor. It's obviously a little bit difficult to see inside. I haven't designed these floors to come off, unfortunately, so we're just going to have to make do with the light that we've got. So, looking inside, you can see that the bottom floor includes a bit of corridor. Got one of my standard Hogwarts braziers in the middle there, and then there's a painting on either side. Now, those paintings are a bit of a throwback to one of my earliest videos, which was the review of the Transfiguration Classroom, the Harry Potter moment set. Those stickers come from that set, and in that video I said that I was saving them for a build in the future, and that was this one, so it just shows how long I had this designed. Just adds a little bit of interest to that corridor there, and means that it's not a completely blank space. Other than that, the interior of the ground floor has not been filled, and that's just because I haven't quite decided what I want to do with it. I'm thinking possibly just to include a scene of students running through or something like that. Trouble is, depends how much I want to stick to my rules about keeping a kind of flow through the castle as if people could actually walk through. If I decide I don't care too much about it, I can pop a classroom or something in there. If not, I might just leave it as a little bit of hallway, because I think it's nice to leave space to breathe, as it were. But if we spin this round, you'll see an interior that I have definitely decided on, which should be very obvious straight away, and that is a bathroom. More specifically, this is going to be the bathroom where the troll corners Hermione and Harry and Ron come to rescue her. I've tried it with my troll. I don't really know what you describe him as. Minifigure, big figure, midi figure, and he just about fits in there. So it's not probably going to be an action feature or anything like that. Just be a little display just to show the troll. And even if I don't have him in there, Hogwarts has got plenty of bathrooms, and loads of stuff happens in bathrooms, it seems, so I will just be able to have that as a feature of my Hogwarts. Now, obviously, at the moment, this is only half a bathroom. You can see I've got the Technic bricks here, and in the future, the next part of Hogwarts that I really want to build is going to be the extension that comes forward just here. This is the side you'll be seeing, although obviously you won't see inside. So that's half the bathroom that I've done there. I thought I'd just highlight the little builds that I've made for the sinks. I'll just see if I can pull one off the wall like a giant troll. There you go. Those are my little sinks that I've created. So it's a very simple build. The gold tap piece is just sitting on top of a headlight brick, and that's got a regular 1x1 brick attached to it. And then that has effectively on its top a curved slope 1x2. And then on the other side we have got, I can get it off using my nails like I shouldn't, there we go, an inverted 1x2 curved slope with a corner 1x1 panel piece. And when you pop all that together, the geometry all works out, and we get, admittedly, a very small sink, but I think the effect overall is really nice, and it just sits on that one brick there. I've just created a little protrusion with a 2x2 plate that the sinks can sit on. The other one is exactly the same, and I think the effect is really nice. These are just representing mirrors. They're just light bluish grey at the moment, as I don't have any reflective stickers, but I've noticed that the Moaning Myrtle's bathroom, or the Polyjuice Potion Mistake, I think it might be called, the set that's coming out in June, has got some reflective stickers for mirrors in that, so I might be ordering a second one of those sticker sheets. The other feature in here is just a towel rail. Again, I'll take this off so you can see it. All this is another one of those golden tap pieces, and then a 1x1 stud with the hole through the middle. Just get that to focus a bit better. There we go. And then that's just got a white car door. There's the handle, which just hangs down there and I think looks like a towel, which I'm definitely not the first person to think of that. I probably copied it from somewhere. I can't quite remember, but I think the overall effect is really nice, apart from getting it to stay straight. So there we go, just a simple black and white tiled floor, and that'll continue across into the second part, which is where all the toilet stalls will be, and I'm really looking forward to creating that, but happy I've got this built for now. So that is the ground floor. I think what we should do is move up and then continue on. We're one floor up now, what we would call the first floor, and it's much the same as the floor below. In fact, if I push it back, you can see it's got exactly the same arch design. I've used a lot of these arches in my build. These are the sort of 1x5 by, what are they? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1x5 by 4 arches, which work really well. I think they're really nice because they let a decent amount of light in, ground floor notwithstanding, but they're also very strong and they're just secured by these 1x4 plates here and here. What you'll notice though is that on this side I've only got a half arch, or just one of the arch pieces, and then it stops, and that's because this here will join onto my viaduct entrance building adapter piece that I mentioned in my overview video, and when you put the two together it'll create one complete arch. I'll show you that briefly at the end of the video when I show this actually within Hogwarts. So it has all been planned. I planned this out quite a while ago, as I mentioned with the stickers. Just had a few revisions before I went ahead and built it. So this floor is empty at the moment, to be honest. It's just got arches holding it up. I chose to go with a smaller doorway down here for a reason that you will see in the future, but I've gone with bigger ones up here for now until I change my mind. Just here is where we'll get to the exterior of the castle, and there's a window there, so there'll be more of the castle will come along this way. Rotating around, you can see here, I put another smaller doorway in. I think my intention is to have the charms class in here. Obviously not this small. Again, like with the bathroom, it'll extend out this way, and that'll give me a bit more space. So I may do that depending on space. If you've got another suggestion, then by all means drop it in the comments below, and I will definitely consider it, because I always like to see your comments. Spinning further around, we get to another bit of exterior. This is where the roof outside comes along like this, which I'll show you again, turns through 90 degrees and comes out along here. So obviously two bits, one that I haven't built and one that I don't have here right now, but it'll all make sense when everything is lined up. Again, I have planned this. This is also where the base of the tower, which quite happily I can start on a 16 by 16 plate, which means it's nice and strong. There's another 16 by 16 plate just here, and then the level above actually goes to 12 by 12 for the tower with these little extensions of the roof along the sides. Okay, we've finished with the first floor, time to go up to the second. This is where the tower proper starts, emerging from the roofs. So this one goes on towards the viaduct entrance building, and this one goes out towards here. I don't really know if this bit of a castle that I'm going to build in the future has a name. It's part of Durham Cathedral originally. It's one of the many bits of real life architecture they mashed together for the model, and in that obviously Durham is a cathedral, it's a church, so it's one of the transepts which run across from the main length, the main nave of the church, but I don't know what it's called in Hogwarts or if it's even got a name. But anyway, this is where the tower comes up out of that, and I had to make some compromises, as always with my Lego Hogwarts. I'm not building for absolute fidelity to the real model, or even, you know, the real castle. So what I've done here is actually shortened the tower. You may have seen in the wide shot that the tower looks maybe a little bit squat, and that's just purely because it's purely because of how I originally started building my Hogwarts, and mainly to do with the Grand Staircase Tower. In the real Hogwarts, the Grand Staircase Tower is quite a bit wider in diameter and obviously much more cylindrical or circular, and I just don't have the pieces or the space or the patience, quite frankly, to design that, so my Grand Staircase Tower ends up looking quite a bit skinnier. As a result, I didn't want this tower to be taller than it, so I had to make it a bit shorter. Interestingly, some of the designs I've seen for other Lego Hogwarts castles, especially people who've designed extensions for the large micro-scale Hogwarts castle, which really only encompassed a very small part of Hogwarts. People who've designed the rest of that, I've seen quite a few of them where they have quite a short central tower and then bell towers which are much taller, when in actual fact I think it kind of looks the other way around. Anyway, I've compromised a bit, so here, where there are 2 sets of windows, in the real thing there are, sort of 6 or 7 maybe. I wouldn't have done that many anyway, but probably I would have wanted to do 4. So I've halved that, and it was a kind of painful decision, sounds silly to say, but I'm glad that I went with it because I think the overall effect when you get it all together looks really nice. But anyway, spin this around. I don't know if I mentioned, I think I might have done in a previous video, I haven't done much in the way of interior, or any interior really, but this is where I'm intending on putting Ravenclaw House, he says, spinning it round to the Ravenclaw Banner. So that is a piece from the Astronomy Tower set. It is, well, actually in that set there is that sticker on one side, and then on the outside there is a brick sticker. So I could have just carried that piece across, but I kind of wanted to keep the brick sticker on the Astronomy Tower, and considering that 2x5 brick is mostly hidden by the roof, I actually used Robin Hood Brick's patented hot tea technique. No, you won't get a stamp from me because it's his technique, to actually get that sticker off and pop it on another 1x2x5 brick. So I think that looks really good. So the intention would be to have the Hufflepuff common room in here, including the stars on the ceiling. If I can tilt this back without it all collapsing. Stars on the ceiling there, which was a suggestion, I think, from Everything Potter. If it wasn't, I apologise to whoever it was. So the common room would be down there, and then, he says, snappily segueing into the next bit, up here would be the actual dorm, or one of the dorms. Now, I've taken off these, again, from the Astronomy Tower set, so there's 2 beds, cabinet with a little writing desk, and then this candle, which is gold for some reason. So I've taken those off, so in theory I could just chuck them in like that, and jobs are good. And you know me, I won't do that. What I'll probably do is use these pieces as a starting point, design my own beds and things, and my own common room to go down below, but that's for a future video. At the moment I'm just focused on getting the buildings actually built so I have a more complete Hogwarts. So since we've gone up to this floor anyway, we might as well spin this around. This is a floor, or the floor rather, that went through the most redesigns when I took a look at this recently. So you'll see that I've tried my best to approximate the octagonal shape of this tower, or rather of this part of the tower. So we've got the 4 sides here, 1, 2, and then the 2 on the other side. And then actually these cheese slopes here and here represent those other sides that go this way. Now, originally I had the, I don't know how you describe them, the 2x2 corner bricks with the wedge cut out of them. I'll put a picture up on here. I had those here and here, and they kind of worked, but I couldn't get them going all the way up because of these arch pieces, and eventually I decided I would rather go with these cheese slopes. Even though there are gaps in between them, I could have done it so that they were seamless from top to bottom, but I actually thought that this way looks better. The way that they're secured, if I, never ends, spin round, there are actually a large number of headlight bricks. There are 5 in each of those, so there's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 headlight bricks, each with a 1x1 plate on them, and then each with a cheese slope, most of them in tan, but some of them in medium nougat. And because of the Lego geometry, that matches up perfectly, so that is just a smooth transition between the two there, and that is my best approximation of the octagonal shape. Obviously in the corners I've got these towers, which again I think are supposed to be octagonal, and Lego did previously make octagonal pieces of a similar size and shape, but they've been long out of production, and I'd much rather go with pieces that are still currently in production. On the front, the side facing the viewer when this is normally set up, I've actually got these 2x2 round bricks with the Technic hole through them, and those are just to represent little windows. I think I've done a similar thing previously, just looking back up at Hogwarts. You know what, I don't know if I actually have. No, can't see them, but it's something I've thought about previously anyway, just because of expense reasons and because I had loads of these regular 2x2 round bricks. I haven't done that on the back, the side that you won't normally see. So that's my floor just there. All these shapes and things, they're all taken from the model, and then I've done my best to approximate them On the model, these windows actually have pointed roofs that go up into the main spire. I tried and tried to get something that would work, but I just couldn't find something. The one thing I'm proud of here, though, are these bits of what are called tracery in real cathedrals, at least. So these are the kind of ornate bits of stone that go in front of windows. Obviously, it's not that complicated. It's just a stack of 1x1 bricks, 1x1 plates, with one of those arch pieces on the top, and then one of those tent-shaped slopes, and that fits perfectly, he says, as he can't get it back in. Fits perfectly in there. Promise it does. Look, there we are. Fits perfectly. Wow, I'm really glad I didn't try and do that on camera. Not because it was the most difficult thing in the world, but because it took an age. Okay, not an age, it was a few minutes. So that's back in, and that means we can proceed to the next floor, which is kind of a floor, but it's also the main spire of the tower. So I think we'll look at the base of the spire first. As with a lot of my other roofs in Hogwarts, I have gone for slope bricks rather than plates, partly because I find that easier to do in studio, whereas trying to get the right angles and things with plates can be a bit tricky. I'm not going to avoid it completely in future, but I decided to stick with this for the moment. Like the towers below them, these spires are actually roughly octagonal, but that's very difficult to approximate in LEGO, so I've gone for a kind of mishmash where they really are square at the top, and then there's a little bit of an octagonal down below. For those of you who don't know, LEGO makes these corner pieces, which are the kind of outside corner, but they don't make what piece I would really like, which is a kind of opposite inverse. It's a piece they would never make, to be honest, which would allow me to put these spires just in the kind of gap at the bottom here. So what I've come up with is a very complicated little build using headlight bricks and 1x1 brackets and bricks with studs on two adjacent sides, and lots of 1x1 plates and tiles and lots of different slopes, and yeah, it's very complicated, but the overall effect is, I think, really nice. Obviously, you can see where these curved slopes come out a little bit from there, but then when you get to the bottom, they work, but then if you put it further away and kind of squint, everything lines up perfectly, quite. But this is the best solution I could come up with. Probably the most complicated solution I could come up with, but I'm pretty happy with it. Went through a number of different redesigns using curved slopes and using regular slopes and using lots more of these grilled slopes, but I'm pretty happy with what I came up with. Also to mention that the floor of the tower is not just one big 12x12, well, it wouldn't be one plate, but you know, it isn't just one big square shape. It's actually octagonal. And the way I've done that is by using, what are they? 4x4? 3x3? I can't count now. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4x4. Going mad. 4x4 wedge plates in dark bluish grey, and then a combination of plates in the middle to make the rest of it up. And that actually means that these outside little pillars have just got, if I can break that off there, they've just got these 2x2, he says, dropping it, 2x2 wedge plates. Now, I could have made my life a lot simpler and just gone for a 12x12, but I quite like the fact that these dip in there and then these are kind of extra on the outside. I think it reinforces the idea that this is octagonal, even though it really isn't. So this just goes back on there and sits there. It technically means that these towers on the sides are not really fixed in. You know, you can just pull them and they fall out, but there is a very tiny little bit just here, which actually keeps them just in place. Like you saw, I can pull them off quite easily, but they're not, or touch wood, they haven't so far just fallen off after I've brushed past them. Tilting up, we can have a look further and further up. This is actually very simple. It's just stacked bricks, or stacked slopes rather, all the way to the top where it's just got one of those four-sided pieces, and then a sand green cone. Try and get that to focus on it. Sand green cone. No, it's not going to do it. Sand green cone. A sand green cone and a minifigure ski pole right at the top, as I've used throughout the rest of Hogwarts. So there we go. That is all the way to the top. I'll just show you briefly the inside. So again, there's nothing here. I may in fact get the required bricks and block this up, but for the moment I've just left it open. It does mean that this is a little bit precarious, although actually it's pretty strong. It's just a bit of a pain in the arse to actually put together. As promised, here's a quick look from the back with the viaduct entrance building adapter. So it splits just there, halfway down the arch, which I really like the look of. I could have made this part of this, but considering this is a 16 by 16 plate, I didn't want to make it much larger here. So that just comes off, and you can see the Technic pin, or Technic axle I should say, that I used just to align the two parts together there. And from the outside, you can see where I've got the roof coming along here, and as well as the continuation of the roof up here, and then it's going to turn the corner. So that's the central tower, just knocking things off left, right and centre. What I'm going to do now is pop this back into Hogwarts so we can take a look at it in context. Obviously bear in mind it's going to have something in front of here, it's not just going to be a cut-off wall. One thing I do need to do before I can put it into Hogwarts is put it on a base, and for the moment I have created this monstrosity, which is two very large bricks, which I think probably both came in Harry Potter sets. They're actually 8 by 16 bricks, which are enormous, but they work perfectly because obviously 16 by 16 base, and then we just have enough bricks and plates to make this up to the required height. So we'll pop it on this and then get it into Hogwarts and we can take a look at it. And there it is in all its glory, standing on its base just there. Ignore the Black Seas Barracuda. And I'll just take you round so you can have a few different angles. First of all, there's a look from roughly where I posted a photo on Instagram the other day, which I think it looks really nice from back there. It's just nice to see more to the castle. And I think you might notice what I'm saying here. So there's the top of the central tower, and there's the grand staircase tower. So that's the reason why I had to make this a bit shorter. Also got the astronomy tower behind, which has been raised up to the correct height in terms of its base. And I have to say it's looking, even though I've extended it by 2 floors already, it's still looking a bit stubby. So I think one of my future projects might be to raise that by even more. At the same time, I'm probably going to go through and add a sort of curve to the side, or rather to the back, just to follow how the tower looks in the actual model. You can also see, looking down on it, the beginnings of the long roof that go all the way down the long gallery and eventually end up at the bell towers. Obviously it's only really half a roof because the other side doesn't exist, but for our purposes and from here I think that looks really, really nice. Just take you round to the other side and kind of look past the central tower to the rest of Hogwarts. Yeah, I really like that look. Obviously you can see the kind of cut off back of the Great Hall and the Grand Staircase Tower, but I think that's still a really nice look and a view of Hogwarts we've not had before, and one that I'm pretty proud of. So there is the central tower, something I've been working on for a while and finally got to bring to you. Okay, well, that is it for now. I've obviously got more of Hogwarts planned, but at the moment I think I'm going to wait until the new sets have come out, and then I'll be doing reviews on those. So let me know if you're looking forward to that. I definitely am. If you enjoy my content, then please comment down below and let me know what you think. Like the video, obviously, and subscribe to the channel, and also share the video with anybody that you want to. You know, I want to get to as many people as possible and, you know, share my creation and also hear from everybody else, because I've got a lot of good ideas from you guys, and I'm eager to hear more in the future. So, like, share and subscribe, all the good things, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.